What I'm about to read to you is an article from the New York Post. Now, I got this article today, and I don't know who wrote it. It was from the distribution desk. Obviously, the writer wanted to be anonymous. I don't know. Anyway, the article, well, actually, the front page of it on page 6 says, "Stop the insanity, Mr. President. You lost the election. Here's how to save your legacy." Here's how to save your legacy. More on that later. Here's the article. Mr. President, it's time to end this dark charade. We're 1 week away from an enormously important moment for the next 4 years of our country. On January 5th, 2 runoff races in Georgia will determine which party will control the Senate, whether Joe Biden will have a rubber stamp or a much-needed check on his agenda. Unfortunately, you're obsessed with the next day, January 6th, when Congress will, in pro forma action, certify the Electoral College vote. You have tweeted that as long as Republicans have courage, they can overturn the results and give you 4 more years of office. In other words, you're cheering from an undemocratic coup. You had every right to investigate this election, but let's be clear. Those efforts have found nothing. Just to take 2 examples, your campaign paid $3 million for a recount in 2 Wisconsin counties, and you lost by 87 more votes. Georgia did 2 recounts of the state, each time affirming Biden's win. Those ballots were counted by hand, which alone debunks the claims of a Venezuelan vote manipulating Kraken conspiracy. Sidney Powell is a crazy person. Michael Flynn suggesting martial law is tantamount to treason. It is shameful. We understand, Mr. President, that you're angry that you lost, but to continue down this road is ruinous. We offer as a newspaper that endorses you, that supported you. If you want to submit your influence, even set the stage for a future return, you must channel your fury into something more productive. Stop thinking about January 6th. Start thinking about January the 5th. If Republicans David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler win, they will prevent Biden from rolling back what you have accomplished. A Republican Senate that can pressure Biden into returning to the old-fashioned failed Iran deal can stop him from throwing open our sovereign border and prevent him from packing the Supreme Court. Now imagine a government controlled by your nemesis, Nancy Pelosi in the House, Chuck Schumer in the Senate, and of course, Joe Biden in the White House. How high will taxes go? How many of your initiatives will be strangled? And on a personal note, do you think they won't spend the next 4 years torturing you with baseless hearings and investigations? Consider this. You came out of nowhere to win this presidency. Not an elected official, not a lawyer, not beholden to any particular faction of the swamp. You took the elitists and the media who had long touched you with average working people. You changed politics, which is something very few in American history can say. If Georgia fails, all of that is threatened. You will leave your party out of power, less likely to listen to what you have to say or to capitalize on your successes, such as the expanding Hispanic voting bloc for the GOP. Democrats will try to write you off as a one-turn aberration, and frankly, you're helping them do it. The King Lear of Mar-a-Lago, ranting about the corruption of the world. Securing the Senate means securing your legacy. You should use your considerable charm and influence to support Georgia candidates, mobilizing your voters for them. Focus on their success, not your own grievances, and we will head into the final week. If you insist on spending your final days in office threatening to burn it all down, then that will be how you will be remembered. Not as a revolutionary, but as the anarchist holding the match. How to save your legacy. How to save your legacy. There is no saving legacy for Donald Trump. Even if he tries to run again in 4 years after Joe Biden is sworn in, there's no legacy saving for Trump. His legacy is dead. D-E-A-D, dead. And death, with over 300,000 Americans dead. That's his legacy. But I'm not surprised at any of this coming from the New York Post. They're big supporters of Donald Trump, the Murdoch media empire, whatever. Fact is this. Donald Trump's legacy is destroyed. And he's the one who killed it. But in this article, it makes good points, pointing out that there was no conspiracy, no voter fraud, nothing like that. Saying what everyone out there has been saying, including the the former Attorney General, Billy Barr, Donald Trump's personal law dog. Despite the Homeland Security saying there was no voter fraud, the man that Donald Trump appointed, he fired. Despite every court in the land saying no evidence, evidence is not conclusive. Despite the treasonous, I'm going to use that word, treasonous lawsuit that the Republicans in Congress and the Senate tried to take to the Supreme Court, and they turned them down. And don't think for 1 second that's going to be forgotten. Don't think for 1 second you're going to get your jobs back with honor. Because sooner or later, you're going to be voted out of office, and those charges of treason are going to stick. Despite everything, Donald Trump has lost the election. And they're giving him, and what bothers me, I don't have a problem trying to help Donald Trump. I don't have a problem helping any politician or any president. But he's beyond help. They're trying to give him a blueprint as to how to save his presidential legacy. It can't be saved. 300,000 Americans, over 300,000 Americans are dead. Days before Christmas, he runs to Mar-a-Lago after blowing up coronavirus pandemic relief negotiations. After months of the Republicans blocking them. That is how bad his legacy is as president. But when it comes to him trying to help Perdue and Loeffner keep their seats in Georgia, it's not going to happen. I've been hearing Georgia citizens, African Americans, all ages, all races, all ages that are allowed to vote are coming out in droves to get those two out. I'm so thankful for that. For decades, we've been told that our vote doesn't matter. Guess what? The message has gone through, our vote matters. But even going to Georgia for Donald Trump, it's not going to help them. It's damn sure not going to help Donald Trump's legacy. Now, one of the paragraphs that really got to me in this article is that the fact is they go into this whole paranoid spiel about how Schumer and Pelosi and Biden are going to destroy the country by raising taxes, by opening the southern border, all the right-wing BS that we've been hearing for decades from these people. It's just gotten a whole lot louder now because of Trump. So, if Joe Biden is sworn in, taxes are going to go up. Everything that Donald Trump has done for the last 4 years will be destroyed. I hope it is. Because the last 4 years were crap. And we're killing Americans. Not to mention the fact, if not killing Americans, destroying Americans. Destroying their homes, destroying their communities, destroying their jobs. Especially this particular year, 2020, during a pandemic. And the last part they say, torturing Trump with baseless hearings and investigations. You're damn right he's going to be investigated. I hope he is investigated. 300,000 people are dead. More are probably going to die before the herd immunity takes over with the vaccines. I hope to God he is investigated. He needs to be investigated. He needs to be put in jail. Him and his whole family. And his regime. But what really bothers me about this is that if this were any other president, would they be saying this? If this were Barack Obama, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Clinton, Nixon, any of them, Reagan, would they be talking like this? Giving him a blueprint to save a presidential legacy that's already been destroyed 100 times over? Now, the thing of it is, what really bothers me is the simple fact that they say that Donald Trump is helping the Democrats' cause by tearing down Trump's legacy. He's not helping us. He's doing his job. He's doing a job of helping himself destroy his legacy. And I'm loving it. Because honestly, it's not a legacy worth fighting for. If this is the kind of president that you want, if this is the kind of president you want to support, if this is the kind of president that people, and I'm just talking about regular people that I've talked to on Facebook, Twitter, and whatever, that want to go to war for this guy, you can have him. You can have him. You can have his legacy. Now, the fact is this. You want to focus on Georgia's successes, those two, Loeffner and Perdue? They're not going to be successful. People are coming out to vote. Some of them haven't voted before in their lives, but they've seen what kind of monster you are, and they see what kind of monsters Perdue and Loeffner are, especially Loeffner, particularly Loeffner. So Donald Trump, don't try to protect your legacy because you've already murdered it. And as for the Post, do what you feel. First Amendment with that and all that. Just be ready when it all comes back down on you. Why did you support this man? Because the questions are going to be asked. And Rupert Murdoch, and around to save your asses. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left. Justice to the right.